Daniel, Alan DeCarlo. I was waiting for your call, then I couldn't remember if I was going to call you back. But do I think it's a good idea to make a documentary? And I must say, for a few different reasons, I think it's an interesting, good idea because the three of us, well, how can I go back to the point of where we both grew up with a piano in the living room, and I taught him how to play, and 4 years later, we recorded an album, and he's just one of the greatest players ever. Ross lives in Palm Springs, has an amazingly successful organic cosmetic line that sold at these exclusive spas for the wealthy and rich and famous, and he's just an amazing drummer. But anyway, we were an organ trio. We had it all down. We had the long hair, the good equipment, good manager, opening act for Chicago. The one little thing we didn't have was the hit record part. We didn't get that down.
I'm sure you think it's nice, but the fact is very simple. I can't play with people who suck. And I don't know what kind of a situation he's got.
Nice day finally. It was all raining and stuff, but now blue sky, almost like California. Okie dokie. Boy, the dryer is working so hot. My clothes are shrinking. I took the shop vac and cleaned it out. Oh man.
Well, I mean, there's just something genuine and touching about guys who haven't seen each other for 10 years or something, and they say hello.
Of course they say hello, but then all of a sudden I gotta play, and I'm not doing it because I don't know how together this guy is. And I don't know how together the fucking players that he's got are. I'm going to have to play fucking bass and keyboards with a drummer who has bad time. I'll come over and strangle you
So you just won't do an on-camera interview?
Pen and paper. Or you want to record it?
If I can record our phone conversation, that'd be okay.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
Okay, well, yeah, well, basically, I didn't know what to expect when I first started this thing, as you know. Call me naive, but when I went out to see Alan, and I realized he wasn't the Alan I saw in the Electric Light and Blue movie, I didn't know what to do.
Things change, huh?
of Al DeCarlo and Madura and Hawk and Ross. These guys were idols to me, and I did get a chance to talk with David, with Hawk. Afterwards, he was with Chaka Khan and doing some things with Madonna and Michael Jackson at the time, so I was very impressed on that and what he was doing out in L.A. Where was Al? Al, nobody really knew where Al was. Well, I was driving down the tollway one day, and this is years and years later, and I go to give my money to the toll booth attendant, and who is it in the booth taking the money from me but it was Al DeCarlo. And I go, Al, you're Al DeCarlo.
Anybody Pepsi or Coke? You guys?
Al?
Pepsi, Coke?
Have some water if you got any water.
I left the bottle at the shop there, but you know, our tap water is really happening. It's really good.
And he says, yeah, I'm Al, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember you. How you doing? You know, because he actually jammed with me one time. He knew who I was, and that was how I got back in touch with Al.
Through a toll booth?
Through a toll booth, because he was working the toll booth.
Now, did you feel like sorry for him seeing him in a
Well,
toll?
of course, yeah, I did, but actually he told me he was making a lot of money, so he was happy about that.
I got Eddie on the line.
That's a place that I called 1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
I told him, anytime you got something together, I will come out there and I will fucking produce it. If it's really good, if I think it's really good and I think I can get a record deal for it or something, I will get involved. Man, he hasn't sent me shit. Now what does that tell you? What does it tell me? It tells me that, stay away.
That's a cherry tree. In front there's the green apples. Yeah, I've actually had lunch scarfing. The right month you can scarf this tree and wander around. Yeah, then you live all your dreams come true, and then you trip and die in the street like a dog.
Place.
Huh?
I think you got a beautiful place.
Isn't it nice? Yeah. And no goofy people come over, so it's a nice controlled environment.
Well, I guess
yeah.
except us two.
Huh?
Except
Yeah, well, you guys, at least you're leaving town, thank God.
You have said you only one life to live.
I met Al through this girl that I was dating that had lived with Al for 10 years. And I ended up living with her for 4 years. And that's how I met Al. His mother got put into a nursing home and they sold it for a condo, and Al was kind of out in the street. So I had an extra bed, and I let him and his son stay there,
Here in this house?
No,
Some other...
I was renting at the time. I had a couple.
You were renting at the time and you heard Al was on the street with his kid?
Well, they weren't on the street. He was coming by and that, and I was going to Florida, and I wanted him to stay at my place so nobody ripped off me, So he stayed there, and we got to know each other, and he's been with me ever since.
Yeah, they want to see my room. John laughs because his room is nice and neat.
Why is that?
Well, his room's nice and neat, and mine is goofy with clothes. I just know where to fit them. Is the thing.
I was teaching at Lyon and Healy in Oakbrook, and that was in the early 60s. And Al came along, I'd say like a year or two later, so you're looking 64, 65, came out of high school. And I would teach, we had little studios where we would teach our students, and they would get half-hour lessons apiece. And Al would come once a week, study guitar,
And would you find that he picked it up fast?
Oh yeah, he picked it up very fast. And then when he started studying, and after he'd been with me a while, then they started putting their bands together, then he changed his appearance a little bit. He started growing his hair. But in high school, he was very clean cut. He looked collegiate almost. I mean, he was very straight. Not until, when he started playing with the bands, he grew his hair a little longer. That's when Hawk was with the Nomads, and they were in Villa Park. That's where that band was. Then later on, they switched around maybe to a different township. But I know Villa Park was probably the beginning area that I saw him with at the Nomads.
I met Madura before they were Madura. Al DeCarlo is my cousin. Hawk, we go back to grade school days. I'm a couple of years older than him, but I met Hawk when he was probably about 12 or 13 years old, and we actually played in a garage band together, and a little garage band called the Nomads. And so we went back to the times when we were just learning our first chords on a keyboard or guitars. And then I went in the Army, and when I got back, they were so far advanced from me that I couldn't keep up with those guys anymore. Al had so much raw talent that I couldn't even begin to compete with those guys.
Well, let's walk out front.
Okay, I want to turn you on this book that changed my life.
Oh, you got a...
Paramahansa. No, it's Paramahansa Yogananda. The Far East dude.
I don't really have anything bad to say about Al or Hawk. I want to talk about me as a drummer, whether it was with Madura or as a drummer in general. If you want to know about my history, I can give you a brief story about, how it all started. And, the stories about where people are and stuff, it's such in the past for me that it's almost hard for me to comprehend talking about people that I used to know 40 years ago.
Came by my baby. She took her hand. It's about 5 feet 4 from her head to the ground. Just come here just about midnight. Trying to feel so good. Trying to feel alright. And her name is
Here we go. Got the Bangor Flying Circus LP. Got it signed by Al. He was playing a gig with Danny Seraphine from Chicago. He was walking around. I brought my LP with to get signed. There it is. A little Madura right there.
It was an evolution that had to happen because, don't forget, there was all these musicians who are 13 and 14 and 15 years old, and they were playing all this rock and roll, and it was all right. And all of a sudden, it started getting better and better and better and better. And finally, it just happened. These groups started blossoming, and that's what I think happened. The more sophisticated musicians, and there's so many good musicians in the States you wouldn't believe that you've never heard of. Just fantastic players, and maybe they'll die unknown,
She's been
My father is very kind and humble and very, I would say he's shy. I would say my dad's shy. He's a good person. He would never. He wouldn't steal. He wouldn't do anything to do with any kind of crime or anything. My father would never have anything to do with that.
Because it was just the neighborhood guys, and I was just going along with the guys. And then, they got bigger, and the scene got bigger, and we went on further. And pretty soon I was working for them for $40 a week, and we'd play 3 gigs, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I got to drive the truck because I didn't have a car. I thought, oh boy, you were Mr. Cool or Popular if you were in the band,
Right. Are these like the Banger Flying Circus?
Banger Flying Circus.
Al is a tragic story. You know, he was very troubled in those days. He was always worried about something. Him and Hawk a lot of times didn't get along, and they were best friends growing up as little kids. And Al being a lot of raw talent, and Hawk being a practicing kind of musician that practiced, and that's why he got as good as he did. Al just kind of took it naturally.
I ain't going any further with Al DeCarlo until he shows me something. That's a fact. Because he hasn't fucking shown me shit. And I told him as well, I'm not going to fucking stick my ass out on the line for you. If you're going to be a loser, people will look at me like I'm nuts. But I'm not going to expose myself to that shit. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to expose myself to that. Fuck no, man.
Sitting on a wood frame pier, drinking on a cheap flat beer when my mother come up behind me, whoop me in the head.
He was a crazy mystery to me. I covered Bangor Flying Circus early on in the strip, and maybe the internet was a little different in those days too, and I searched and searched to find just a little bit more info on that guy, and it was always sort of a cool, I sometimes like a cool mystery. There's not much mystery left in the world, and you know, obviously like a very, very capable guitar player, very fully formed when he played with Bangor Flying Circus, so I assumed he had bands before that, but I couldn't really find any information, and yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't feel like there's too many guys you could probably name on one hand, like really killer shreddy guitarists from Chicago area, you know, from the 60s and 70s. So then I made the Medora connection and realized, wow, this guy, you know, had a career.
It was great, but Hawk's nuts. He tells me, Al, look, you're fried, man. You fucked up sounding good, man. It's 3 chords. Like, you need medical help.
Do you need medical help?
No, he thinks I need adult attention deficit thing. Well, I could be more attentive if there's a magical happy pill, like Prozac. Take it and smile. Yeah, you know, what do poor people do? There's no God, there's no, you know, faith. If you can't afford this $90 script, then you just have to be miserable. In fact, now that you technicians are here, let's look at my tape. Jingles, the biggest, the baddest, 3 Musketeers, and once you had a taste of glory, Wheaties, you got the stuff.
Okay, how come it's not on?
Well,
here.
Oh, yeah, on, power. There's a power button.
To turn it more?
Could be.
There it goes, okay.
You're talking fresh, you're talking cold, you're talking cold. There's a beer you heard them talk about all across the land. A beer that satisfies your thirst like no other can. There's a beer that runs cold from the Rockies straight to here. Boys, you're talking cold, you're talking beer. Fresh cold boys, they know how to make it, yeah. We know how to drink it. You're talking fresh, you're talking cold, you're talking cold.
How old is that?
87, 88.
87?
Mountain water flowing clean and clear. The beer you may have heard about sure is flowing here.
Singing about it.
Flowing with the flavor we're brewing just for you. That fresh Coors taste that lasts the whole night through. We bring the fresh of the Rockies here to you. We keep that fresh Coors flavor coming through. And beer after beer, the taste keeps coming through. We bring the fresh of the Rockies here to you. And Coors after Coors, the taste keeps coming through. We bring the fresh of the Rockies here to you. We bring the fresh of the Rockies here to you.
My mother pretty much was a supermodel. She was in Sports Illustrated, different magazines, Cosmopolitan, and my dad was a rock star, and they met in California. I believe they got married years after that, a couple years after that, and then I came.
Now, when did it all come apart for your mom and dad? Do you know?
I believe I was 4 years old, something like that, and there's a couple stories, a couple different versions of exactly what happened, but they got in an argument. My grandpa picked my mother up That was it. And I would see my father come out here to Chicago and see him in the summer. And then I ended up moving in with my father.
Now we're on a roll. Gonna bring the dream tonight. Gonna give it heart and soul. Gonna dream, gonna do it, gonna kick up dust, gonna strut our stuff. Gonna bring the dream to let you back. There ain't seen nothing yet.
I get a lot of emails and stuff from Guy. I always include my email with every strip I do, and I think I got one shortly thereafter from someone who was like, Al is alive and well. He's in Addison. He's still at it. And I was like, oh, cool, you know, like good to know, but no details, you know.
I gotta put it on the actual CD.
Okay, I'm taking this.
Do that.
Okay.
See, I can't do the things I used to do.
Why is that?
Because I'm disabled. I mean, I got artificial hip, artificial pelvis. I broke every bone in my body.
Mm. So, what's the living arrangement that you and Al have? Because I know Al doesn't work. How do you guys support yourselves?
I get Social Security. So, and he does work now and then, and he gives me all his money, you know. But I end up giving it back to him for cigarettes when he was smoking. He quit that when I did. I told him, you can smoke, but not in the house. So he wanted to quit anyway, I think.
I mean, the way I see it, he kind of is, it kind of sounds like you call the shots all the time here at this house.
It's my house.
I mean, you've been trying to help him out for a long time, haven't you?
Well, I think a lot of people try to help him out because he was such. I mean, he was there. He was on top of the world, and then you know, I'm more of a local guy, and I can see maybe what I would do if I was him, and then I try to step into that thing to try to help him out.
I was 22 and she was 48 years old. And she didn't tell me. I was actually living with her in California. She didn't tell me that she had cancer. She pretty much told me she was sick. And I came back to Chicago not knowing she had cancer, and then I got a phone call. And by the time they got a hold of me, it was the day of the funeral or the day after, and I really couldn't make it to my own mother's funeral.
Walking with Mr. Lee. That was back when my older sister was in high school. I was president of being class. I had some class. Almost Allison. He said, your mind's on vacation and your mouth is working overtime and you're making double the pay. So what do you say? Hey, okay, I'll shut the hell up.
Do me a favor, try to remember any
Well, bangers.
Try to remember any banger tunes.
Well,
if you can, it's okay.
Right on the spot here,
Right on the spot. it like in the late 60s, musically?
Wake me up when the 60s are over. Oh, I'm still shiny and dripping. I need a fan or something. I've been, running back to the car, get some socks, take out the boots, and I'll calm down in a few minutes. Does he have a fan?
You want to take a break?
Yeah.
I have anyone up there want to do the limbo. Come on, don't spill your drink. Keep thinking what you're thinking, drinking what you're drinking. Yeah.
I just till I cool off. I'd rather wear it, but I just.
I'd like you to have it on. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, I'm a skinny guy, and it looks better that I look like a human pencil with a mustache. A pencil with a mustache.
That's
no,
good.
I'll lift weights by tomorrow.
Oh, grab your guitar.
Sleep.
He's a good friend. He's like a brother. I know if I don't keep an eye out for him, he'll screw up. He just has a tendency. He's not a leader.
Say that again?
He's not a leader. It's easier for him. He doesn't want the responsibility of it.
And it hurts because when you're hearing your father say, "Look, I'm gonna make it big again like I've done before, and everything's gonna be okay, and you don't got to worry about anything," I always thought that. I always thought he was gonna do that, and it never came through. And maybe he can do that. Maybe he can see his grandkids. He has 2 grandkids that he should spend time with. He doesn't have the money right now. He has a guy that he's like his boss or something. He hates it there. He honestly doesn't want to live there. It's just the guy is an asshole. He's miserable, and he's bringing my father down and making him depressed and miserable, and it's horrible. But I love my dad, and I want the best for him, and I hope that I know he could still play, and maybe he could get into writing more like he was, and possibly get with his old buddies that are multimillionaires and sit down and help him. He's a talented person. He just needs somebody to be there and help him through it. And I know he's going to stay clean, so I think he has one more chance. So possibly let's give him one more chance in the music industry. If anyone's out there that will help him, I don't know. That means be there, his friend, and play with him and get his thoughts and what kind of lyrics and write music and, do what he used to do. That would be great.
That's the trouble with the Neville brothers. They were trying to get...
Well, come here.
Hi,
Hawk, this is Daniel calling. Listen, I know the way you feel about this whole thing, and we really need you out here. I'm being very honest. You don't have to play anything. We got some local musicians. We're just going to get a demo tape together for you. If anything, if you can just stand and observe or just see your old friend, we're going to have to interview you anyway. Ross isn't answering any of my phone calls, and I just could really use you. So hopefully you find it in your heart to come down, man. It would really mean a lot.